All right, so let's talk about how to transfer data from another platform into a Stackbit site. So specifically, let's talk about how to get a bunch of blog posts in. So back in the day, I actually built a website that had almost 1,000 surf spots. So imagine 1,000 pages, each with one surf spot. I had all this data stored inside of Firebase. And what I figured out is that as long as I can get this data into JSON format, JSON format, I can then convert the JSON objects into markdown files, which are the files that actually power each of these pages, right? So each of the pages in a normal Stackbit site. So here's these markdown files, and I want to get each of these objects here. So this is one surf spot called 15th Street. This is another surf spot called 2020s. And I have all this data underneath each of these. And I've kind of massaged this a little bit and I've tweaked it. So expect that you'll probably have to do that as well. And this isn't going to be a full exact tutorial that's perfect for everyone, but it's going to give you the base structure that you can then come in and work with to get your information over into a bunch of markdown files, which you can pretty much just commit into your repo and have up and running. So also the basics of how I've done that here, and it'll give you the good base for how to do it yourself. So you'll basically create a project, and for me, I've called this one Surf Spots Data, right? So you could imagine calling this like your current website data. You can call it whatever you want, but I thought that was helpful for me to know. And then inside of here, I have all these JSON files, and I've pulled out the one that I just wanted to start with, which is just the surf spots. I have some other ones that I'll do later on, but right now I just wanted to get all these surf spots in as pages inside of my new Stackbit project. So to do that, I went in and I've made an object, right? This is one massive object that has like 38,000 lines. And inside of this object are smaller objects, right? Of this one here with that represent each surf spot. And then underneath that are the basic key value pairs in the JSON that will relate to the variables inside of the YAML file itself. So we can see here, this is my actual Stackbit project called Surf Spots. And inside of here, you can see I have models, and then we'll see one that I've created I created previously called Surf Spot Layout. And inside of Surf Spot Layout, we'll see each of the different parts that I've actually, or not parts, but variables that I've laid out here as part of the schema. So we can see here we have like title and surf spot latitude, surf spot longitude. So inside of here, we'll see title, we'll see surf spot lat, surf spot longitude. And now what we'll do is we're going to basically loop through all these surf spots here and output them as markdown files. So to do that, we're going to use a Node.js command. And here's kind of the setup for it. And again, I'm not the best coder in the world, so I'll walk us through this in the way that I know, and I'll probably butcher a bunch, but this should give you a great place to start from. So in here, you'll need to add these this FS and YAML to your package JSON, as well as with Lodash. So you can find all these in on npm, and you'll basically just do npm install fs, npm install Lodash, npm install YAML.js, right? Once those are in, this package JSON file will have this information, and you'll be able to run the commands that we need here. So inside of here, we have our one of the key things here is the big object, right? So this is the file path to all the surf spots. So right now I have inside of test.json, this is where I was actually testing from. So it's going to loop through all the surf spots inside of this test.json. If I wanted to loop through any of the other ones, I would just change this file path to match the file that I wanted to loop through. So it gets all the entries in big object, and for each of them, for each surf spot, we're going to basically run through this here, which basically will write a file. And inside of here, I'm saying take the data, which is all the data in one object, right? So this is all the data inside of this one surf spot. So I'm going to grab that, and I'll take the data.title here, and that's going to become the file path itself. So right here on the first surf spot, it'll come out with 15th Street, right? Which is what I wanted this file path to actually become in my end result. So inside of here, we'll go surf spot, surf spots / whatever, and then I added in this the 3 lines here, and then the /r/n is a return, so it'll go below it, because that's what inside of the real projects you'll see when you go into the markdown files themselves. They all have these 3 lines up here and the 3 lines on the bottom. And so I actually went into like a blog and I just basically looked at how this is all formatted, and then tried to match it as best as I could with the with regards to how I wanted the YAML file to actually, the schema in the YAML file to work, right? Like, do I want this to be a string? Do I want it to be an object, an array, a date time? And I made sure that the output from here, when it outputs these markdown files, will match the markdown file that will be basically working with the schema in the YAML file. So I can use these as a base to see about figuring out how to get this to match exactly what I would need, so it'll work with Stackbit. So I went through and did that, and now this will loop through. There's a couple things that I actually append onto the end of the file, which are just little hacks for myself. I could probably be a lot better with these, but again, there's nothing real special. I'm just adding on a few things. The 2 things that you would probably want to add on to each of these different, if you're doing blog posts specifically, is you'll want to add on this bottom section and the layout. And you'll want to do that, and also these the 3 lines on the bottom, again, because you'll see here, there is underneath the blog, there is this section called bottom sections, and you want to have bottom sections with a empty array, and that will allow you to come into any blog posts, any of these new blog posts that we'll add into this file in Stackbit, and you can actually add in any section that's already available, which is really, really handy in case you want it. And then the other thing there was layout, right? So for this would be using post layout, but I created a whole new layout called surf spot layout for these surf spots specifically. But again, you can just use this post layout and you'll be rocking and rolling. So let's go actually through how you get this to work. So what you'll do here is, I'll just clear this so we can see it a little bit better. And you just run node convert, and this convert relates to the convert.js, right? So it's telling it to run this whole whatever we want to call this function. And so I'm going to click this, and I will see underneath surf spots, all the surf spots have come in, and now I have hundreds upon hundreds upon hundreds of surf spots all in here as markdown files. And inside of each of these markdown files is exactly how I would want the variables inside of the YAML file to look. So now what I can do is I can actually just come here and copy all these markdown files. So I scroll down all the way to the bottom, which is probably the longest thing. So I'll copy, I'm just hitting Command C, and now I'm gonna come over here, and underneath surf, I'm just gonna paste. And boom, I've pasted, and it's gonna take a little bit of time for it to actually catch them all, but I think it's already done. So they're all in there, which is great. That's what we wanted. And there they are, all the way down to Zuma Beach. And inside of here, we'll do what we normally do. So I'm just gonna clear that to clear it. We make sure we're on the preview branch, right? So get branch, great, we're on the preview. And now I'm gonna just add all these files. Then I'm gonna commit them and say git commit to, and git commit all surf spots. This would be all blog posts, whatever you're trying to add, and then we're going to push, right? We need to push it up to the remote repo inside of GitHub. So it says I had a little failed message here, and that's because I'm actually behind the current branch, so I would need to run git pull. And if you see this message, I think you can write that, which was :WQ, and now I've pulled that in, and now I should be able to git push. Great. So now that I've git pushed, I'll bring down the Stackbit site itself, and it just accepted all those changes. I saw a little loading bar, accept them all, went right through there. And inside of here, we'll start to see all these pages. We may actually need to refresh, but maybe not. And inside of here, we'll see all the pages, and it's going to take a second to load them. So you could see this loading, and like it's accepting like hundreds upon hundreds of pages right now. So I'm going to pause while it accepts them, and then we'll come back once it's in. Oh, great. So here it is. And then inside of here under surf, we'll see all the surf spots, right? So, wow, this is amazing. I've got them all in. And then you can come into any of these that we might want. So let's check out what 4 Mile looks like in Santa Cruz. Here it is. And I've taken this and basically used each of those small little, I guess, variables here, and utilize them in a way where I'm popping out a full kind of blog post, right? So inside of here, and this is just something that's specific to me that you can obviously do too. You can just grab the different qualities of whatever your blog is about, and you can have all these little kind of variables. And I've just parsed them using a bunch of conditionals into a well-written blog post with a video and some links. And so inside of here, it says like 4 Mile surf is an advanced right point break. The waves at 4 Mile are at their best with a 13 to 16 second south swell at around 5 to 7 feet. I didn't write any of this. This is all just from those variables themselves. And again, this works for all the different surf spots that I have. They all show up the same. They give this exact same output, which is optimized for SEO, and we're on our way. So hopefully this is helpful. Again, this doesn't get you all the way through to the end, but it hopefully just gives you a base to work from with this function here. And from here, you can basically start to append everything so that it matches exactly how you want these markdown files to come out. The way that I actually started with this, that might be helpful for you to do, is I just started by doing one, and I hand typed it all in. So when I showed you the YAML file over here, surfspots.yaml, I literally just put in one markdown file, and I made sure it was the way that I wanted it to be, right? So that it had everything in the exact way that I would want every single one of these to be listed out as. And then in the YAML file here, I just made it match up, and then I just got one to work. And then once I had this one to work, then I went back into this Node.js project here, and I figured out how to get it to loop through every single one of these, every single one of the objects in my JSON file, which is actually this one, and spit out the markdown file in the way that it should match. So hopefully this is helpful, and let us know if you need anything as you go.